The Real Show is brought to you by UCS Facility Management Limited, Omni Basic Bank, and Dewdrop Hand Sanitizer.
This is The Real Show, and you haven't missed a thing yet because we are just about to kickstart tonight's episode. I'm going to introduce my first guest for tonight, and before I do that, let's just have a look at the introductory video.
The thyroid is a small butterfly-shaped gland located at the base just below the Adam's apple. The thyroid produces hormones which controls all essential body functions. Thyroid diseases refer to benign disorders that affect the structure and function of the thyroid gland. Producing more than enough or less than enough hormones cause several disorders to the thyroid. More than enough hormones can cause restlessness, severe headaches, pain in the neck, bulging eyes, anxiety, raising heart, just to mention a few. Less than enough could cause fatigue, dry skin, weight gain, weakness, depression, memory problems, among others. Thyroid disorders represent an important public health problem worldwide, ranking second to diabetes as the most commonest endocrinological disorder seen in adults. Iodine deficiency is one of the causes of this disorder on the African continent. Thyroid diseases can cause severe discomfort and economic stress to a patient. The thyroid is like a fuse box of the human system and has connections and control over a multitude of the body functions and other hormones. Therefore, the dysfunction of it affects almost every part of the human body and can make it very difficult for an affected person to go about his or her daily duties. In view of this was the Thyroid Ghana Foundation founded. The Thyroid Ghana Foundation is a non-governmental organization with the sole aim of creating awareness for thyroid disorders in Ghana and bringing prompt and appropriate treatment to those affected by thyroid diseases. They have been creating awareness of thyroid diseases in Ghana, creating opportunities for early detection of thyroid problems, supporting thyroid research, and institutions involved in thyroid disease management. In the Real Show studios is Nana Adwoa Konadu Dsane, the founder and president of the Thyroid Ghana Foundation. Welcome, Adwoa.
Welcome, Nana Adwoa Konadu.
Thank you very much.
I love the dress.
Thank you.
I probably have to see you after the show and get it. The beads, everything. Truly an African Friday evening here on The Real Show. And anybody going to sew the style should give us credit.
You know.
Anyway, welcome once again.
Thank you, Mahalia.
No, let's dive straight into it. We've had you on the show before, and we spoke about diseases and all of that. We are going to go on the thyroid gland disorder tonight. But first of all, what is the thyroid gland and what does it do in the human system?
Okay, so the thyroid gland is the butterfly-shaped gland, which is located below the Adam's apple. So it's a gland like this with two loops. You see, when we look at the butterfly, it has this the wing that it used to fly. That is just how the thyroid gland is designed like. And what it does, it produces a hormone which is very important for our body metabolism. So for your body system to function well, it mainly depends on the hormone that the thyroid gland produces, which is called thyroxine.
Okay.
So if your thyroid gland produces too much of the hormone, it's not good. If it produces too less, it's not good. So it has to work at the optimum level. So that is basically what the thyroid gland does.
Okay. So then if somebody has a thyroid gland disorder or disease, what does that mean?
Okay. So it means that the gland is either producing less than the hormone or above the level that it has to produce. Okay. So when it produces too much or above the level, we call it hyperthyroidism or overactive thyroid disorder. When it produces less, we call it hypothyroidism or underactive thyroid disorder.
Oh, okay. So hyper is under and hyper is over.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But what causes this in the first place?
Okay, some of it are genetic. So some of it we inherited, it's in a family line, but some of it too, we acquire them. some by where we work. So those of our siblings who work in a highly radiated areas, they are prone to having a thyroid disorder. Those who take too much greens, too much, yes.
This is the first time I'm hearing something negative about taking too much greens.
If you take too much greens, you are prone to, because greens contains a substance what we call goitrogens, and the thyroid gland, the hormone that it produces is made up. It has goitrogens, it has iodine. So we know that most of us say that when we see someone with a goiter, which is the enlarged thyroid gland, it means the person lacks iodine. That is what we are always told. And then we are saying that the person doesn't eat plantain. But our dietitians have made us to understand that plantain doesn't contain any much iodine that we have been made to understand, right? So we get iodine from seafoods. So if you consume too much of high contained iodine food too, you can also have a thyroid. So some of them are, that's why we say they are acquired. Okay. So our eating habits and also where we work in the environment that we find ourselves. So if you work in a highly radiated area, you're also prone to having a thyroid disease.
So high radiations, not having enough iodine, eating too much greens. Oh, that is a shocker for me.
Ones, like what I had is from a family. Okay, yes. So I have siblings who are also having some.
Great. But would you say there's a high risk according to gender?
Yes, there is. Okay. It affects more women than men.
Why not the other way around? So I can skip it. But why is it so?
Okay, so it is so because, you know, women, we are made up of a lot of hormones, right? Okay. We have hormones that help us to have our breasts come up. We have hormones that help us to menstruate, right? So all those hormones play a key role in letting us be at risk of having a thyroid disorder than in men, right? But when it affects a woman and a man, the chances of survival, women survive it than men. A woman can have a thyroid disorder on which has not been diagnosed, but we are able to maneuver through the symptoms, the stress that comes with it, than when it is seen in men. So we'll say that the same hormone that puts women at risk, that research has shown that it's like 8:2. 8 women get a thyroid to 2.
That's interesting.
Yes. That same hormone also help us to maneuver through the symptoms and all of it, right? So when we are 2 people with a thyroid disorder who, let's say, have to undergo a treatment option, let's say a surgery, and the surgeon has to choose one, and it's a woman and a man, they will do the man than a woman and wait, because women survive it
better, higher than chance of us surviving it than the man. Okay, so what are some of the symptoms? I mean, how would you know you have a thyroid disorder?
Okay, so if the symptoms vary with the type. Okay. So we have I'll talk about the symptoms for the hyper. Some of it
first,
too.
What are the types? Then
the 2 main types are the overactive or the hyperthyroidism, which I've stated, and the underactive or hypothyroidism. Yes. So when you have the overactive, you can lose your hair. Wow. Excessive weight loss, that is one of the common of the overactive of the hyperthyroidism. So if you are there and you are losing weight without you, let's say you are not under any weight loss course, and you are just losing weight, please, a cause for concern. It's not normal. You know, you are eating your normal food, or even sometimes you eat too much, but you are not you are still shedding a lot of weight. It's one of the common cause, that a symptom that you will see if you have a hyperthyroid disorder or overactive thyroid gland. It means the reason why you lose a lot of weight is because the thyroid is producing so much, so your system is being overworked to produce too much of the hormones, right? Okay. So it makes you lose a lot of weight. And then the little work you do, you are tired because you are losing weight. You don't have enough energy. Some people get joint pains, headaches, dry skin, and then some people get the worst of it, the bulging of the eye. Sometimes you see people, their eyes are protruding Mostly ophthalmology people see a lot of them. We call it the thyroid eye disease. So some people get the thyroid eye disease as a result of having overactive thyroid disorder or hyperthyroidism.
I wonder what the connection of the eye and the thyroid is.
Yes, it's because the hormone that the thyroid produces, as I said, it helps with your body metabolism. Okay. And then other hormones also rely on it to function well. So that is how come when you have it, you can also lose your hair, because the hormone that helps your system to produce good cells for your hair to come is not getting that good hormone that the thyroid is producing. It's not getting the good one for your hair, so you can lose your hair. Some people even lose their nails, right? So it's kind of your whole system is affected. And then when you have the underactive, you gain weight. So it's the opposite of the overactive. So if you are eating normal food and you are just putting on weight, and you are not deliberately wanting to put on weight, please, a cause for concern. Sometimes some people feel like when you put on weight, oh, yeah, sure, yeah, you're eating well. I mean, your husband is taking good care. Please, no. When you're putting on weight, you're eating normal food, please go to the hospital, right? We ignore it, but we need to, because you know that you're not deliberately eating something that is putting, you need to. And then other people too, one of it, they become cold intolerant. So if we are all here and we are all saying that this place is hot, if somebody has the underactive, they'll be feeling cold, right? The overactive too, they also have excessive heat intolerance. So when everybody says this place is cold, they alone will be saying, so we call it, they have hot flashes. Some people experience it mostly when they are in menopause. You know, menopausal symptoms is also one of it. But this one, you are not in your menopause, you are younger than that. Some people get thyroid at a very young age, but they experience it, right? So it's quite serious because it affects your whole system. Some people also get brain fog. The brain fog is for both the underactive and overactive. And sometimes you can't even remember. Maybe you are talking to someone, you can't even remember what you were saying. The person will come back to you, you tell them, you remember, and they'll continue. It goes. So mostly when it affects those who are in school, it's bad. So mostly when the foundation, we go out, we tell people that when you have a child and you realize this child was very good and all of a sudden they are not performing well, don't say they are being lazy. Please take your child to hospital. Tell the doctor or the pediatrician that you've heard about thyroid disorder. They should check your child and see if probably the child is now showing, right? It can show at any point in life. Some children are born with it. Others too, we are seeing when we grow up. It's shown in us when we grow up, right?
All right, so some of the symptoms are you could have bulging eyes, you could lose your hair, your nails, you could lose weight or gain weight without reason, and you could even have brain fog, where you don't easily remember things. So if you have any of these symptoms, then you should please go to the nearest medical center and have a checkup. Now, are there treatments? Okay,
so thyroid disorders are managed for life.
So it cannot be entirely cured?
No. Okay. They are managed for life. It's because your immune system is affected, right? They are managed for life because you cannot go back to your old ways when you are diagnosed with a thyroid disorder. You have to manage yourself very well. You have to pay attention to yourself because something can spring up out of you having a thyroid disorder. There are management options. We call it management option. So we have either you be put on medication. That is, if your levels are low, we give you drug that will bring it to the optimum. And that is what doctors prefer. It's easily managed. And the drug that they give, the side effects, research has shown is negligible, right?
That's the hypo.
The hypo.
Okay.
So when the levels are low, they will give you, you can be put on medication, you can take it for life. But if you work on your diet well, because the hypo means you may be lacking goitrogens, that is, you are not eating enough greens. You may be lacking iodine, that is, you are not eating a lot of seafoods. We don't get iodine from plantain as we've been made to eat, right? So if you balance your diet very well, you need selenium. Selenium, we get them from nuts, right? If you balance your diet also, you can take almond nuts, the tiger, and all those nuts gives us selenium. So if you take these three things, you balance it very well. Sometimes you can be taking off the medication for a while, but you need to watch your levels. So at least twice a year, you have to do the thyroid function test to see how is my thyroid functioning like, right? So that you are assured that it's at the optimum level all the time, because it can let anything spring up. You can let any of the symptoms I've mentioned come up again, right? If you don't take care of yourself very well. So you have to be very extra careful. I tell the people, those of us who have been diagnosed with a thyroid disorder, that we are special people. We are not like just any other person. Me, I'm a very special person.
Yes, you are.
So I don't just eat anything, right? Those who are not special like us, they can eat anything. You know, when you put it that way, it makes people exactly. Then you tell somebody, stop eating fufu, stop eating, go and eat. You understand? It's not easy like that. I mean, we are all used to our traditional foods, and then you get a disease and they tell you you should cut it, you should do that. It's not easy. But if you put it the way that a person will feel happy about it, they told the lie. Okay, so you can't just eat anyhow. You eat the right food so that your levels will be well. And if you have the hyper one, you should, and maybe they've not given, your levels are controlled. They've not taken it off, like I have had a surgery. You also have to try and cut your greens and your iodine levels. You have to manage it very well. So you do the thyroid function test from time to time. I do it twice a year. Okay. Then to check the levels to see if it's okay. But anytime I'm not feeling well, the first test I do is the thyroid function test, because when you are not feeling anything relating to it could be the cause. So when you have a thyroid disorder, you are not feeling well, the first thing you should do is to check the levels. Are the levels okay? Before you look at anything, if it's malaria or whatever, because it can make you feel weak like you have malaria, but it might not be malaria if your levels are not at the optimum.
Tell us about your experience.
Okay, the journey has been good. It's been challenging, and I've had support from my family and friends, right? So it started after I had my last born, and 4 months after, I started feeling pain all over my abdomen. So I felt probably due to that.
The childbirth.
Exactly, because I passed water for a longer time and they wanted to remove the baby. I said no, because the first two was normal delivery. Okay. So I wanted to have him also normally. And then, so I thought probably because I have the ruptured delivery, that's the reason why. So I did all scans and all that, but it showed nothing. And it lingered on for almost 8 months. I lost weight drastically. Fortunately, God spoke to the baby, so he weaned himself off the breast milk because no breast milk was even coming.
So it can actually everything can affect your body.
I mean, it's your body metabolism that is at risk now. So he stopped breastfeeding himself. He just stopped it. When you give it to him, he won't take. And I think it was God who was working in that way. So it was on, I lost weight, I started losing my hair. When I comb my hair, it falls off. Not like it's breaking, but it comes from the scalp and then you see it on the floor. Wow. Yeah. And always I had a headache, always. So I had done a lot of labs. I mean, I spent over 15,000 cedis only on labs. Wow. Because they had to do a CT scan of my head. Along the line, I couldn't really walk straight because my back was hurting. I had to do they had to do MRI of my spine and my head and a whole lot.
All because of your thyroid
all because
gland.
of my thyroid. And funny enough, I was working at Kollywood Teaching Hospital as at then. So I was fortunate. I could walk to any consultant's office and tell the person that I'm not well. So I kept changing them. Because when I come to you and you let me do labs 1, 2, 3 and nothing, everything is on, I just go to another person. until one day I met a doctor friend. Around the time I was not well, she was out of Ghana. So when I met her, I called her, she couldn't recognize me.
Okay, we have a few minutes.
So
let's
all
try
those
and
things.
grasp all, yeah.
And then she finally went through my things and said she thinks I have a Graves' disease. It's a type of hyperthyroid disorder.
Wow.
Yes, the overactive one. So I was put on medication, on and on and on. It came to normal. Then I had a surgery. So I've removed my thyroid gland. Currently, I don't have a thyroid gland. But the medication that you have to take for it, I'm currently not on it also because I manage my diet well. You need to manage your diet well, manage your stress level, and then, I mean, when you see things are not going well, you slow down, right?
But that's bold and strong.
Yes.
And thanks to you, tonight we are learning so much. So you do not have to be in so much distress, moving up and down, spending so much on tests. Like she spends 15,000 and even over, I'm sure, trying to find out what it is. At least now you know about the symptoms of thyroid gland. Thanks to Nana Adwoa Konadu tonight. And you can go straight to the hospital and say you want to check for this thyroid gland disease or disorder because you have learnt about it. Now, is there a word or two you would want to say to encourage us?
Okay, so what I want to say is we should pay attention to ourselves. It's not just about we wake up in the morning, we feel fine, so we go up and down. Once we can move, we just go. Sometimes you have persistent headache, you keep taking paracetamol. We abuse paracetamol a lot in our you take it 1, 2, it's not going, please go to the hospital. Because you can have persistent headache when you have a thyroid disease. If the levels are low or high, all can give you headache. So let's pay attention to ourselves. When things are not working well, let's go to the hospital. Let's not just take it that it will go. Because sometimes you are just putting yourself at risk. Thank you. Thank
you so much, Nana Adwoa Konadu. I mean, tonight you have educated us, you have shared your story, you have made us more aware of our health. And as you are watching, I hope that you do listen to everything that we have said tonight. You pay attention to your health and do not abuse drugs. Be quick to check for your thyroid gland condition so that in case you have the disorder, you can actually detect it early and seek treatment.